Hey everybody, NecroVMX here, and, well, you know what this is about from the title. The television show, the animated cartoon, King of the Hill, is officially over, and as you guys know, I'm a big fan. I've mentioned it quite a few times, and a couple of people have asked me what I thought of, what I thought of the finale, what I thought of the whole idea of it being canceled, and the reasons behind that. So, and I've wanted to do a video like this, so let me just talk about it. I know I don't talk about television a whole lot, because I don't watch a whole lot of television. I'm not really much of a couch potato type. I'd rather watch a movie than a show, usually, but I am into cartoons, and I was a big fan of The Simpsons, I still am, and I enjoyed Beavis and Butthead, back when that was on, so, you mix the two together, Mike Judge and Greg Daniels, you got King of the Hill. I've always loved the show. I think that for an animated, sitcom, it's a whole lot more dramatic and subtle and intelligent than a lot of the others, especially when you compare it to stuff like Family Guy or American Dad. And that's a knock those shows, because I do enjoy both of those shows. It's just they're not anywhere near on the same level as King of Hill in terms of quality. First of all, I wanted to say that I love the finale. It's always been a very subtle show, and you could really take that the last episode could have been it could have been any episode. It didn't necessarily have to be the last one, and I think that's because that's the kind of show they do. They don't do like a big revelation or a character dies or whatever. They've done stuff like that in the past. They've done, cliffhangers. They've done characters dying. They've done a baby being born and all this. But for a show like that, they didn't necessarily need to do that for the finale. They did a very subtle approach, and instead of it being a focus on an ending, it was also another episode. People tend to forget that with things like not only television shows, but series in terms of movies or books or comics or video games, that the last one is not only an ending, it's also the next one in the series, and people forget about that. And they focus so much on how something is going to end and what the ending is going to be, that they forget that they're not only getting an ending, but they're also getting the next chapter in the story. So there was a whole plot with, Bobby grating meat, which I thought was very funny. And I thought it was a very good episode, and the way they ended it was perfect, with Hank and Bobby finally bonding, getting a really good bond over something, and grilling side by side. I thought that was beautiful, and everybody coming over for a barbecue. Boomhauer's a cop. We found that out. That was kind of funny. But as for my thoughts on getting it canceled, I'm bummed. I've been bummed about it for a while. There was, for a while, some hope that ABC might pick up the show. But I think they turned it down, and I think they actually had a pretty good reason for it, which is going to go into what I'm going to say next. ABC's currently airing The Good Family, which I haven't had the chance to watch yet, but I am interested in watching, which is another animated comedy made by Mike Judge. And I think that they said, well, we already have a Mike Judge animated, comedy show. Why would we pick up another one? I think that King of the Hill could easily survive in syndication, but I don't think it's going to. I think it's over at this point. I think that we have to abandon all hope. And especially after 13 years, it's not like Family Guy where it's going to come back. And if you remember, Family Guy came back mostly because of DVD sales. And while I love the King of the Hill DVDs, there's only 6 of them. Well, here's 4 of them right here. But you can't get season 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They don't exist. They haven't released season 6. And as a matter of fact, starting with season 3, they didn't have any extras, which is kind of sucky because the extras on season 1 and 2 DVDs were really good. I especially like the idea of the commentary being done by the characters themselves, which is basically like watching a whole new episode, which I thought it was really funny. And they stopped doing that, and then, seasons 3, 4, 5, 6, no extras really. So, I would take just the episodes alone. You can't even find them online to download, or you find them and they're in terrible quality. So I think that's one thing. I think Fox had abandoned the show long ago, in a lot of sense. They tried to cancel it several times, but the ratings were always good. There were points where King of the Hill was beating The Simpsons in terms of ratings, but they had given up on the show a long time ago for whatever reason. I really don't know why they did that. It could have been political But Fox is kind of funny because, the Fox shows are generally liberal, and then you look at Fox News, which isn't. So I can't really say that it was that. It could have been a lot of things. It could have been they just wanted to get rid of Mike Judge. I don't know. I think that, the ratings have always been good, and the ratings in King of the Hill in the 13th season were certainly good enough for it to get renewed for another season. And there were a lot of episodes that have already been put into production that Fox is just not going to air, and they're going directly into syndication. So there are still more episodes of King of the Hill waiting to be seen, but they'll be seen in syndication. And it's only a handful. It's not like a whole nother season. I think it's like 6 or 7 episodes. So, there's that. But like I said, I don't think that DVD sales, like even if they do put out the rest of the DVDs and they sell like crazy, it's not going to revive it. I mean, the show had a good run. It wasn't like Family Guy that got cut down after 2-3 seasons. It lasted 13 years. So I think that it's had a great run. Most shows don't last even half that long. The reason behind it getting canceled, I think, is silly. Ridiculous, utterly nonsense. They wanted to make room for another show. They wanted to make room for the Cleveland show. Now, the Cleveland show, what the fuck is up with that? What are they doing? Why does Family Guy need a spin-off? And even if Family Guy does need a spin-off, okay, they say, oh, well, we want our animation domination to have a new show. So why do you have to get rid of an old show? What is with this? Why can't you put it on a different night or move one of the other shows to a different night? Move American Dad to a different night. That's already established. Why, the Family Guy spin-off, that's silly. And this is a show that was canceled once already, and now it's getting its own spin-off that's going to air on the same night. Kind of strange. You know what? I mean, I think it's just really weird to have 3 Seth MacFarlane shows in the same night, all back-to-back. It's overkill. It's oversaturation. Now, I understand that, Fox has certain, people like Seth MacFarlane, like Simon Cowell, like Gordon Ramsay, that have done a lot for them. But, I mean, if you look at Gordon Ramsay, he has 2 shows on Fox right now, possibly a third one coming, but the 2 shows he has air on different nights, and they're not often airing at the same time. When a season of Hell's Kitchen ends, then you look for the next season of Kitchen Nightmares. So they kind of usually go back and forth like that. So I don't know why you have 3 Seth MacFarlane shows. They might as well change the name from Animation Domination to Seth MacFarlane Domination and, oh yeah, The Simpsons. And really, when you look at it, especially when you consider the ratings on The Simpsons in the course of the past few years compared to the ratings on Family Guy the past few years, how long is it before they say that they're going to cancel The Simpsons to make room for the Quagmire show? Think about that. I've talked to people and they say, well, that'll never happen. That'll never happen. But look what happened to King of the Hill. This is a show at some points that beat The Simpsons in terms of ratings, and now it's being canceled to make room for the Cleveland show. And there's already 2 very similar Seth MacFarlane comedies airing on that same night. So I'm kind of upset about that. Nothing we can do about it at this point, but my recommendation is for everyone to go out there who doesn't own them, go out and buy the King of the Hill DVDs, seasons 1 through 6. Just go buy them, and hopefully we'll get seasons 7 through 13 on DVD eventually, because it's a damn travesty. But I don't know. I don't know if it'll ever happen. Fox has given up a long time ago. They stopped promoting it a long time ago, and still it's stuck through. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I want to hear your thoughts on it. If you watch the show, if you like the show, what you think about it. If you're someone who didn't like the show, I don't really want to hear about it. I don't really care, because then what do I care? It's off the air. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let me know what you think.